Hey everyone, and a special welcome to all you exam aspirants out there. Today we're going to crack the code on a really important update to a key economic indicator, the Index of Industrial Production. Now this is a super hot topic, not just for your exams, but for understanding India's economy as a whole. So let's jump right in.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the absolute basics of the IIP, then we'll look at why the current index is a bit broken. After that, we'll dive into the proposed solution, something called factory substitution, and explain the new math behind it. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a quick revision slide to lock it in for your exams.
Okay, first things first. Let's get a handle on the IIL. What exactly is this thing, and why should you care? Why does it pop up so often in the news and in your syllabus?
Think of the IIP as a monthly health checkup for our country's entire industrial sector. It's like taking the pulse of our factories to see if production is speeding up, slowing down, or just holding steady. It's a snapshot that tells us, hey, here's how things are going on the factory floor right now. So let's break down the DNA of the IIP. A huge thing to note is that the base here is being updated. That's a big deal. And it covers three main sectors. For all you exam takers, here's a super easy way to remember them. Just think MME. It stands for M, make, my, economy. Mining, manufacturing, and electricity. Got it? MME.
Okay, so if we've got this system in place, why are we talking about a massive overhaul? Well, it turns out, if you look closely, there are some pretty serious cracks starting to show in the current foundation. This number right here, 8.9%, is at the very heart of the problem. Now, it might not sound like a huge number on its own, but in the world of national statistics, trust me, this is a massive red flag. So what on earth does it represent?
And here's the issue in a nutshell. Almost 9% of the weight in the entire index comes from factories that don't really exist anymore. They've either shut down for good or they're making something totally different now. This creates what you could call ghost data points, forcing the statistics office to basically guess their output. And when you're guessing that much data, it can seriously mess up the final number.
This all leads to a really critical question. I mean, if the data is skewed, can our policymakers actually make the right calls? Can investors really trust the numbers they're seeing? This gap between the index and the reality on the ground can have huge ripple effects across the whole economy.
So, to get rid of these ghosts in the data, the Ministry of Statistics is proposing a pretty smart dynamic solution. It's called factory substitution, and it's something that's actually common practice around the world. Let's break down how it works. The whole thing is very rule-based. It's not just random. It all starts when a factory goes dark, meaning it reports zero production or just stops reporting altogether for 3 months straight. That's the trigger. The authorities then check to see what's up. If they confirm the factory is permanently out of the game, the substitution process officially kicks off. And for your notes, here's a handy mnemonic: 3ZN. That's 3 months of zero or non-reporting.
But hold on, you can't just swap in any random factory. The replacement has to be a really good match. First, it has to make the same thing. Second, it has to be a similar size. Its gross value added, or GVA, needs to be close to the old one. And third, and this is crucial, it needs to have at least a 12-month track record that overlaps with when the old factory was still running. A great way to remember these criteria is SNG12. S, same item, N, near GVA, and 12 months of data. Okay, so let's get into the mechanics. How do you actually plug a new factory's data into this old index without creating a huge statistical mess? Well, the answer lies in a pretty clever piece of math. The secret sauce here is something called the adjustment factor, or AF. It's basically a mathematical bridge connecting the old factory to the new one. You take the average production of the new factory over that 12-month overlap period and divide it by the average production of the old factory. This gives you a special ratio that helps standardize everything. And this is the really important part to understand. This isn't a one-time thing. Every single month before the new factory's data goes into the index, it's divided by this adjustment factor. This ensures that its contribution is scaled correctly, so we're always comparing apples to apples and maintaining the historical accuracy of the index.
Now this slide shows you just how big of a difference this makes in the real world. This is an official example. Just look at the numbers side by side. The middle column is the old way, with the closed factory dragging the number down. The column on the right is the new way, with the substitute factory. The difference is just, wow, it's night and day.
And this bar chart really drives the point home. This is the bottom line.
In this example, for January 2028, the old method shows a scary decline of over 9%, but the new, more accurate method shows healthy growth of almost 5%. We're talking about the same economy in the same month, but getting two wildly different stories. This is exactly why this reform is so absolutely critical.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground, so let's pull it all together into one final high-yield summary slide. This is basically your cheat sheet, everything you need to lock in for your exams.
So, at the end of the day, what we're looking at is way more than just a little statistical tweak. It's a fundamental reform designed to make one of India's most important economic vital signs more dynamic, more responsive, and most importantly, a much truer reflection of what's actually happening in our industrial sector.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on as you continue your studies. If we have more reliable, more accurate data, just think about how that might change things. How might it influence government policies, decisions by the central bank, or even where foreign investors decide to put their money? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and keep on learning.